Browns in practice drills, the number one defense can't stop them. People take notice of that, and the more that the players see it, then the comments start happening over the lunch table. They start happening throughout the building, and that's when the pressure really will get severe.
Chefy, you mentioned, what do they have next year in the draft?
2 first-round draft picks. Their own
one for the
Jacksonville's pick.
It's got to play into it.
Something wild just went down in the NFL world. Something so explosive that it has fans buzzing, coaches sweating, and one billionaire team owner completely losing it. Former Eagles legend Jason Kelce, yes, the retired future Hall of Famer, just dropped what people are calling a warning bomb straight at the Cleveland Browns organization.
They're not going to start Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders in week 1. Kenny Pickett had a hamstring injury. It makes it easy to go with Joe Flacco. And the question isn't and wasn't going to be who's the starter in Cleveland. The question is who's going to be the backup in Cleveland? Who's going to be the number 2 quarterback when they open the season against these Bengals?
Instead of brushing it off or quietly dealing with it, the Browns got to deal with it very uneasily. Owner responded with such pure anger and fury that it turned into one of the most unexpected storylines of the season. So what exactly did Kelce say? Why did the Browns owner snap like this? And what does it all mean for the future of Shedeur Sanders and head coach Kevin Stefanski? Stick around, because this is a messy, petty, and absolutely entertaining feud that might just decide the Browns' future.
Questions of what's the maximum potential, where is this player at currently? There's a ton of opportunity and potential that the kid has. And there's been tons of players that have been drafted in the later rounds who teams have questions about that end up panning out. At the end of the day, he's been successful everywhere he's been. But they will find all these other little things to say, like, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. There's guys like Tim Tebow had a lot of stuff in college too, and he didn't pan out in the NFL. Like, they're looking to find these little things that cause them to have concern about why you might not pan out the next level. Yeah. And all I'm saying is, if this kid is the dog and the motivated individual, he's got a lot of attributes that lead themselves to being great at the next level.
Yeah.
And he's in a situation now that he's going to get a chance to compete.
Jason Kelce has never been the kind of guy to sugarcoat his words. He's always been blunt, brutally honest, and when he speaks, people listen. This time, he wasn't speaking as a player. He was speaking as a fan of the game, a retired veteran with no dog in the fight. And maybe that's why his words hit so hard. Kelce dropped a warning bomb directed squarely at Cleveland. He didn't scream, he didn't rant, he just calmly laid it out. If the Browns don't fix what's happening with their quarterback situation, it's going to get ugly, fast. And that was it. No insults, no trash talk, just a warning. But here's the thing, because Kelce is retired, his comments aren't seen as an attack. They're seen as a public service announcement.
I don't necessarily trust this coaching staff to develop a quarterback or to evaluate the quarterback position. They've made some really oddball decisions at this position over the last several years, and I don't blame anybody for questioning, do these guys actually know what they're doing?
I don't think that's unfair at all. The thing I would say is that they're desperate. They're very desperate.
To understand why Kelce's words caused such chaos, we need to rewind to the Browns quarterback drama, and specifically to rookie Shedeur Sanders. Now, Shedeur came into Cleveland with a mountain of expectations. Some fans wanted him, some didn't. And according to reports, head coach Kevin Stefanski was one of the people who really didn't want him. That tension boiled over in one infamous play that is still haunting the team. Shedeur taking a 24-yard sack. At first, it just looked like rookie mistakes. But when half the internet started blaming Stefanski's coaching decisions for putting Sanders in that spot, the debate turned nuclear. It wasn't just that play either. Every tiny detail of Shedeur's life has been put under a microscope. He gets a speeding ticket, headline news. He takes himself out of practice for a sore arm, it's a controversy. He shows frustration after a tough series, social media explodes. The rookie hasn't even had a chance to breathe.
For him to get on the field earlier than where I see it at this point has to be with if one of the veteran quarterbacks during the Eagles and the Panthers just looked bad, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this, and maybe he might earn the reps. And then the second big thing is, He has to light it up when it comes to the preseason games. I told you, the dinking and dunking, where you at the pecking order at this point, that ain't gonna get it done. You have to turn eyeballs. You have to make plays.
And that's what Jason Kelce was warning about. He was basically saying, Cleveland, if you keep turning your young quarterback into a soap opera, you're gonna ruin him and yourselves. But instead of listening, the Browns turned it into exactly what Kelce was warning about.
40 years old. Let me tell you something. The only person I've seen ball after 40 is Tom Brady. At the end of the day, when you look at this, think about this. The Baltimore Ravens decided almost a decade ago he was washed. What are you talking about? They own a second quarterback. No disrespect, but Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders cannot possibly be as worse as what Joe Flacco is at this point. And guess what? Have a day, Cleveland Browns. Do yourself a favor. You already went with the youth movement. Turns out that half the players, the best players on your team.
The Browns owner, clearly stung by Kelce's words, snapped back so hard it rattled the Dawg Pound. Instead of a calm response or even silence, he fired off a furious rebuttal that fans are calling nothing short of a tantrum. The meltdown was in full swing. The owner wasn't just defending the team, he was lashing out at Kelce, lashing out at critics, and in the process, accidentally proving Kelce's point. Because here's the thing, if you're secure in your franchise, if you're confident in your plan, you don't melt down over one retired player's comment.
Is expected to start for the Cleveland Browns.
How about that?
Friday night in their preseason opener.
I'd be excited, obviously, if I'm a Browns fan. Like the fact that you get to see him, like that's fun. Like if you're a fan of that team, that's fun that you get to see this guy that is this huge polarizing figure, especially coming out of this NFL draft. I wonder if it's kind of a disservice to him, though.
How?
Because he's been the fourth string quarterback, like, and you're just kind of throwing him in there. I don't know.
If I'm the fourth string quarterback and I get named a starter, I want it. How do
you want it? That's true.
You laugh it off, you move on. But this reaction, this nuclear snapback, it screamed one thing: insecurity. And that insecurity validated exactly what Kelce was saying. Instead of dying out, the story only grew. What could have been a passing headline became a full-blown soap opera. NFL fans weren't just talking about Sanders' play or Stefanski's coaching. They were talking about the owner's meltdown. And suddenly, Cleveland wasn't just dealing with on-field issues. They were dealing with a PR disaster.
But wonder if everything is a test when it comes to Shedeur and the Browns. Not just how are you with your teammates, the playbook, all of that, but, they were very upset about the speeding tickets. Obviously, that was a negative. Everything, you're being judged by every little thing, and the fact that he took himself out of practice because his arm is sore. Again, I'm not questioning how hurt he is, but if you're not injured and you do take yourself out, is he going to be judged on that?
The narrative shifted from, can Sanders succeed in Cleveland, to, is this franchise falling apart from the top down? And that's the worst place any team can be. Because once the storyline becomes about dysfunction, everything you do looks like dysfunction. So where does this leave everyone? Jason Kelce, he walks away looking like the wise veteran who spoke the truth. He didn't yell. He didn't fight. He just made a comment and watched the chaos unfold. The Browns owner, his meltdown will be remembered not as strength, but as weakness. Kevin Stefanski, he's now under more pressure than ever. If Sanders fails, fans will say Stefanski never wanted him. If the Browns collapse, Stefanski becomes the easiest scapegoat.
Yesterday with Shedeur Sanders, somebody on the Cleveland Browns is 100% getting fired, probably by the end of this year. The person who's probably going to end up getting fired is Kevin Stefanski, because I know that he didn't want Shedeur Sanders on the team. It was Andrew Berry who made that pick. You can't really go against your GM. Bad things happen in this situation. But Shedeur Sanders is not without fault for what we saw yesterday. This is the play that we saw yesterday that has the internet just exploding, where Shedeur Sanders took like a 24-yard sack. Half of the internet is saying that this is all Kevin Stefanski's fault.
Shedeur Sanders, the rookie, is stuck in the middle of a storm he didn't create. Every mistake he makes, every headline about his personal life, every sideline expression, it all gets magnified. And instead of protecting their quarterback, the Browns just threw gasoline on the fire.
There were 3 days until roster cutdowns. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously, I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So I feel like everybody feels like they should be on the team. And if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong?